Good morning, everybody. Short version of what's going on here. You're in my garage den Christmas, or I'm sorry, summer room here on Church Street, and we're going to talk a little bit about the Alumni Association for Champlain High School, Champlain Central, and the originator and the idea for this reunion 7-8 years ago is right here, Marshall Maynard. Good morning, Marshall.
Good morning.
Class of?
49.
That's 1949.
Yeah, not 18.
And listen, we're getting to the point, where we're going to have to say the years. We're getting close to,
Yeah.
The first class is 1898, and we're only 3 years from that. It could be 99 will be 2 different years. No one left. So, tell us a little bit about your idea and how this came about.
Well, since I graduated, I've always wanted to hold a reunion, and I just never got the time to do it, I guess. And so after I retired, I realized that probably I'd have more time, and I got together with you, and we talked it over, and I think Norbert Yakey was involved, and then we organized a committee and talked it over with them and got it going. And 5 years ago, we held our first reunion, which was a huge success. And we're now, every 5 years, we intend to hold a reunion until there aren't any more of us left.
Yeah, of course, we can't just have it for one class because we could meet in a car in many of the classes, right? Or a phone booth. But we've went back to the very first class of 1898 through the graduating class of 1959 from the Elm Street building here in Champlain, the Champlain Central. When it moved to the other location, or they joined with Rouse's Point, we ceased operations as far as members.
Right.
The first time around. We had 291 at our dinner the last time in 1990 in July.
Right.
Some teary eyes there too, weren't there?
Yes, there were. Sure were. Well, people hadn't seen each other for between 50 years, so some of them, so it was quite an event.
Yeah, the oldest person we had in time was a graduate of 1914, and her name
Is Lillian Merrihew. She was Lillian Atwood.
Was here in and we had a 1919 Broder Lucas, who has since passed away, so he cannot be here. We had a 1922-23 Helen McRae, and she's passed away. Since we had our last reunion, Marcia, we've lost 24 people. That's 5 years ago. We've lost 24 of our members.
Yeah.
And there came a time, while we were organizing this last time, we're getting close to the period, we had some complaints that some people who had attended our school for 8, 10, 11 years, 8, 9, 10, and 11 years, couldn't attend because they graduated up at the new 276 building. And we made some changes. Tell us about the changes.
Well, we decided to accept anyone who had gone to school at Champlain Central, it would be at that time, to get the end of the run, I guess you would call it. And we started with 7th grade, I believe, 7th and 8th grade. Anyone that went to Champlain Central School in the 7th or 8th grade would be eligible to join, even though they graduated from a different school or didn't finish school for some reason or other.
Make sure you understand that we don't mean the Champlain Central by name. We mean by location. The building on Elm Street. It was still Champlain Central for several years up on the hill, but they were not eligible for membership based on graduation. But 7th grade, that's the old Champlain High School next to the Savoy, where Carl Friend now lives, where it burned in 1940. There's still a lot of graduates and members who are members of our association that are from that location.
Right.
You went to school there, Marshall.
Yes, I did. For the first two or 3 years, I did.
Yeah, some of the memorabilia I put together is here in the garage, and one of the things in there is an ad in the North Countryman in December 1940, telling the children where the different classes will attend once after the new year, now that the building was burned. And you attended where?
I went to the Methodist Church. That was for the first 4 grades. And then across the street in the Grange Hall, I think they had the next 2 or 3 grades. And Then the rest were in the town hall. What was the town hall at that time?
Right. Altogether, I send out about 300 plus letters to graduates who were in the Alumni Association before, and about 200 for people who did not graduate. And those were very hard to find, because it's hard to find someone who attended, or even know who attended but didn't graduate, because I don't have those in my mind in most cases.
Right. Well, what we decided to do was, through word of mouth and talking to relatives and that, to get these people, get the word to them that they were eligible for an associate membership. And
the problem I had, if you look at that picture just to the right there, it's not the picture I'm talking on, the top right. You see all those people? I was looking in the grades in the old yearbooks in the 40s and the 50s, and all it had was a picture like that, and underneath it, all the names, but not in any particular order, and no first names, just initials. So if I saw E. Duquette or T. Castine, I had no idea whether it was a boy or a girl, or what their name was, or even what they looked like, because I couldn't associate. And through that, I was able to pick up about 200 names anyway, and but there are a lot of names I had that I don't have any idea who they were. They've left town when they were in the 8th grade, freshmen, and they're not being contacted. If anybody is out there who ever attended either one of our schools, the old Champlain High School or the Central on Elm Street, from the 7th grade or after, and you didn't hear from me, give me a call at 298-3971 as soon as possible. Our reunion is next week. You are invited, and I take this opportunity to let you know about that. We have a busy schedule for the weekend of the 21st, 22nd, and 23rd. Marshall, can you give us the schedule?
Well, starting Friday evening, there's an open house at the Champlain Legion, starting at 7 p.m. That's for anyone in the community that wants to come to reminisce with these graduates who have returned for the weekend, or any locals that they haven't seen for years. But we have, let's see, Friday evening, I guess right now we have 155 graduates who say they will be there. But anyone from the community, again, I say anyone from the community can come that evening and join in we're having punch and
punch, coffee, hors
d'oeuvres, and
no charge.
And mainly just come and visit. That's
right. The 155, so we don't confuse you, we include spouses, so they aren't all really people who attended the school and graduated.
Right.
It's their spouses. Last year we went over 250, and we expected 250 this year, but the returns are still coming in. And that'll be gone till 11 or 12 or whatever, and it's being catered by the ladies from the Legion, and there'll be plenty there, and Calvin Castine with Hometown Cable is going to be there to make a history of this. The last time he did a video for us, it ran 3 hours and 20 or 30 minutes, and over 200 people were identified on the video. I ran the mic partly, and people were just so happy to see each other. Hadn't seen each other for 40 and 50 years.
Right.
And so some of those people won't be returning this time because that initial shock is all over now, and they figure maybe they can wait longer than 5 years. But
right.
Saturday, Marshall?
Saturday afternoon, we'll be back at the Legion again. We're asking anyone in the community, especially graduates who have any pictures of Champlain, the village of Champlain, the school, any friends, any pictures concerning Champlain, to bring them up there. We'll have tables set up so that we can display them just for the afternoon. Bob has a lot of old pictures of Champlain that he's going to bring up that are on a display board that will be shown. And we're just going to have a get-together, mostly for graduates, but I don't see why others couldn't go there at that time either.
You could also show up and be there. We had planned to be in the elementary school like we had the last time, but as you know, our schools are all under construction, and there's some asbestos abatement in that building, and we just can't get in. So we are using the Legion, not as we just wanted to be in our old school. That's the reason we favored that building, but we'll be fine over in the Legion. And there'll be drinks over there. You can, some of we have left over from Friday night will be served. And there'll be drinks you can buy, if it's beer or liquor or something else you want, they can buy there from the Legion. Right now we're expecting 135 who've indicated they would be there. And I've been talking here without taking a break. Let's give Calvin Castine a break with that camera. By the way, I'm Bob Venn. If anybody out there has any questions, I think my face is on here quite often. And Marcia was on 5 years ago, and it sure don't seem like 5 years. I want to reaffirm that we are talking about the Champlain Alumni Association reunion, reunion of graduates of 61 years, so to speak. Of course, many of the early ones are all gone, but we're still talking about classes from 1898 to 1959, and anyone who attended either of the buildings on Elm Street during that period from the 7th grade up, even though they didn't graduate. We've expanded because our membership is dropping very, very fast, obviously. We lost 24 in the last 5 years. Marshall, just get back to the dinner just a second. Now we're going to have a dinner on Saturday night.
Well, I didn't mention that on the afternoon meeting at the Legion, we are going to have a business meeting from 3 to 4 and elect new officers.
It won't take an hour, though, will it?
No,
oh, no.
probably not.
Probably
I
not.
would say half an hour at the most, maybe not even that long. Then that evening, Saturday evening, we are having a dinner starting at 7 o'clock in the old gymnasium at the Northeast Clinton Central School. The reason it's being held there, we started off, we were going to hold it at the golf course and found that we were going, due to the initial response, we would have too many people to hold it at the golf course. So we are having it catered, and it will be held in the old gymnasium at the school at the Northeast Clinton.
We also were originally had thought of going back into the cafeteria at the high school, but that's also under construction with the roof and so forth. There's no air conditioning in the building. That will be shut off because of the construction. But we're doing the best we can, and we just couldn't change our dates. It's got to be this year. We want to have it every 5 years. And right now we've got about how many?
Well, we have 160 as of now, and we expect more returns before the week is over. So
yeah, at least 100 more have told me that they expected to come. Of course, things changed since they told us that back in February, March of this year, but we're expecting maybe another 50 at least, I would think, before we're done. And that'll be from 7, we'll be then to school from 6 to 10.
Yeah, approximately. And following that, anyone who wants to can go up to the golf course. We're reserving the back rooms at the golf course for anyone that wants to finish up the evening and still talk some more if they want.
Right.
It will be available, well, until closing, I assume.
Okay. I'll tell you that some people who really wanted to come last time and couldn't, locally, that still have not told me they're coming to this one, non-graduates. And I still haven't heard, for instance, from Calvin's father. Calvin's father was one of the people that had to leave school early because his father died, had to take over the farm, that big class of 1940. And I haven't heard from him. He said he was coming. I still haven't heard finally from him yet whether he's coming. And that's an example of other people out there. Please contact me so we must tell our caterer so we know how much food to bring.
And then the final event is a picnic, which is scheduled for 1 o'clock at Shazy at the Rec Center. Food will be available. That's going to be catered by the Lions Club in Shazy. That's lasts till 4 p.m. approximately, and that's the final event. So far we have about 105 people signed up for the picnic, but we expect, again, more people will be coming.
There are many who put question mark for that particular event because depending on the hour they're going to leave. If they leave Sunday, of course, they won't be able to make it. If they wait around till Monday, they probably will be there. This is a new thing that we came up with, and it was my idea, that would be nice to just sit out there and relax with your old clothes on and just sit and talk and move around freely. We'll see how it works out. The Sportsman's Pier was all tied up. We thought we'd get down by the lake because of their big weekend the following week, and we thought of there or Shazy, and Shazy's got a great place there for us, and that's working well. Marshall, everything seems to be going well otherwise.
Yeah, it's going to. I think everything's going to turn out fine.
Okay. One thing we want to mention, and let me bring that up right here. Let's take another short break before we're going to list for you the people who have passed away in the past 5 years, friends of yours, acquaintances, and we'll just let you know in case you don't know yourself. The members and former graduates who have passed away since 1990. These were only graduates, and non-graduates, it's awfully hard for me to know where they are and so forth. Ruth Bateman, the class of 1919. They used to own the farm where John, Paul, Pedro, and Gloria live up on the Dubois Road, her parents. George Durand, 1948 class. Edith Gibbs Shaw passed away during the past year, classmate of Bernice Dodds, Boyer, and others, 1935. Ellsworth Grew, class of 39. Wilson Hutchinson, the class of 31. We talked about him a minute. You know, he was invited. I don't know if he made our last one or not.
No.
But because of the reunion and contact and seeing a copy of Calvin's tape, he made a great donation before he passed away to our library here in Champlain. And it's just a great thing he did. And it was because of our reunion that brought this about, seeing members again. Margaret Kennedy Sweet, who had been living in Shazy, 1923 class. Broder Lucas, class of 1919. Edna Lucas Lanier, class of 1918. Helen McCrae, class of 22. Leonard Patry, just a little over a year ago, the class of 40. Evelyn Poussin Bronson, class of 1918. Alice Robinson Webb, Mrs. Arthur Webb, 1928, it was her class. Hubert Tremblay, who passed away just this past May, you saw it in the paper 3 days ago, class of 31. Fanny Smith Rabidou, from Moores Forks area, 1953 class. Mildred Smith Hoffbauer, class of 51. Ed Tremblay, great historian and sportsman from Rouse's Point, class of 55. It can happen anytime, folks, you see. Class of 55. Beatrice Wright Farrington, one of the three Wright sisters, class of 28. And Rita Duquette just passed away a week ago, the class of 1932. And teachers who are eligible for our association, we've got about 5 or 6 or 7 who are coming. Dorothea Dichiara, I didn't know her. DeCara Coote, Coote. Marjorie Dresser, our own local president of our library association for so long. Monroe Pelton. Laura Robinson Dame, Mrs. Emmett Dame, who had moved into the area, and she passed away. Margaret Sifford Lavoie, the nurse at the school for so many years, and Marilyn York. And 2 of these people had sent their dues in and intended to come to our reunion, yet we never know when our time is, and so we hope all you people don't wait till the next one. Come to this one if you're eligible. Give me a call. There's still a little bit of time. I might be able to work in 3 or 4 others. Marshall, what else do we want to cover before we call this a day?
Well, I'd just like to say that we welcome anyone Friday night especially, and even Saturday afternoon. Bob's got some great pictures of old Champlain, and we just like to see anyone involved with the school, I guess, really.
Yep.
Or anyone from the village. People from St. Mary's you rode together in the school bus and things like that, and played against each other in sports, and we'd like to see you all. I guess that's...
Yep. We're going to have some yearbooks from the old school, and we're going to have some yearbooks from St. Mary's, so you can just peruse those on Saturday. These panels you see right here, I have, on both sides, I have over 100 of those panels set up here with different pictures and things. And I'd like to mention that if anybody who's not at our reunion would like to stop in here at my garage and look at these, I intend to have them up for a week or more after the reunion. So they'll probably be up here until the 1st of August. If you want to give me a call, 2 or 3 of you want to come up at a time, there's no problem. I'd love to have you see these pictures. They go back to 1860s, some of them, right up till 1994 is the latest picture I have here. A lot of things with your friends, your relatives, and just some of your memories. You don't have to be from out of town, by the way.
And also, they brought some old ones that they had so that you could copy.
Yes, exactly. Oh, great, Marshall. Thank you. Anyone that has old pictures that would like to let me borrow them, I'd get copies made. John Southwick just brought me up 3 pictures and gave them to me, the copies he made for me. A class of 1919, a class of some children taken about 1938, and another class of men, which includes Clifford LaPlante, Harvey Webb, and Alan Bombard, I don't know who he is, and Elvidge. These were probably taken in the 30s. And I've got 3 new pictures now that I can... Eventually, these will go to our local historian's office if we can ever get a building, Marshall.
Right.
You like old things like I do.
Right.
Marshall, of course, from Champlain, like I am, and we thank Calvin and Hometown Cable very much for sneaking this in the last weekend, just before our reunion. Calvin's been very, very busy. We're on our way down to the Denimore State Prison to do a show. Calvin and I, and Marshall's going to go back up to the Glenwood Cemetery. You know, that'd be some other place that sometime we ought to have a little meeting up there, just in general. The Glenwood Cemetery is just I should say the pet here of Marshall. Marshall works up there so hard. There's not much money. He spends hours and hours up there. And stop in and see the Glenwood Cemetery. Cemeteries are not pleasant, but that's where we are going to all end up, and it's a very pleasant and nice place to be, unless you're working, Marshall.
All right.
Thank you very much for tuning into Hometown Cable, and again, we thank Calvin for giving us the time. Calvin's always there. If you've got some event, something you want to notify people about, something you just want to tell everybody, call Calvin Castine at 298-HOME, and he'll be, I'm sure he or Sam, or maybe even myself, if he's busy, get over there and get something for you so that the whole North Country can know about it. We really appreciate your comments, and we wish one thing for... And I'm talking now for Bob Ben, not for the Alumni Association. Become a patron, please, to Hometown Cable. This man needs your help, your assistance, and he deserves it. He's not asking for something that he doesn't deserve. He spends a lot of hours bringing you pictures of your children, your parents, and all your friends and neighbors, and sometimes even me, on every Sunday, what's going on here. Thanks for tuning in.